Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me. So this morning I'm back here. I'm back home for a while, and want to share with you again on Leviticus. And not going to go into all the law and sacrifices and things like that, but just something that I became aware of as I was reading through both Leviticus 10 and 14, which there's a bit of a gap, but both of these chapters, just one thing popped out to me, and that's what I wanted to share with you about being insured. And not insured as buying insurance, but sort of, because God tells us if we follow his ways, we are insured of having things turn out for the good of those that he loves. And following his commands, he says, even in the New Testament, if you love me, you will follow my commands. And his way of showing love to us is that protected path, that guidance of being insured that we are headed in the right direction to get that goodness that he has to pour into our lives. So what does that have to do with Leviticus? It has a lot to do with it, actually. At the beginning of Leviticus 10, we see kind of a weird thing happen. As I was speaking about last night in my video, that Aaron and his sons had just been consecrated as the priests. And now here are their new duties, and two of Aaron's sons decide that they're going to just tweak it a little bit and do it the way that they want to do it. Unfortunately, that ends very badly for them. They both die because they are being dishonoring before God. And the notes that I put to myself as I was reading that is, we sometimes think that we have a better way than God's way. Unfortunately, that way takes us to a path that is not fully insured to lead us to the goodness that God wants for us. He wants us to methodically follow him step by step, because anything outside that step is going to take us somewhere that is not good. And so that doesn't give us a whole lot of free rein to be creative in our obedience. God allows us to be creative, but not in how we follow him. And there's a difference in that. So to be fully insured that we are heading the right path, the example that we're given in Leviticus 10 is don't mess with it. When God says, this is what you need to do, is what you need to do. The beauty of Leviticus 14 added into this is it talks about if a leper has seen healing happen in their lives, and these are the steps to take to be cleansed before all of Israel and to come back into the fold, because as a leper you were an outcast. You weren't allowed to even come into where everybody else was living, just because of cause of infection. And later on it goes into how to even cleanse a house if they were moving into the promised land and there was an infection in the house, like mold and those types of things, how to deal with that. Both of those instances had something that was interesting. So the healing had happened, but there was one step that needed to take place before the consecration of that person, that the sacrifices that were made to fully bring them back. Same with the house. And it was a waiting time, a time of observance of, has everything that needed to fall into place fallen into place? And can we compare? So what they did is that they observed the person who had the leprosy, and then 7 days later returned, and are they still clean? And at that point, then the process of the offerings and all of this, and it was a huge undertaking to go into all of these things. And my thought was, as I was reading through this and praying through it, and also thinking about Leviticus 10, is how much wasted energy do we often put into things when we're not quite ready, or when God says the time isn't right yet. And we can get anxious about saying, well, it's good enough. And yet, He can't fully ensure that when we get out of the gates and launch into the next thing, that we're going to be ready for that, because we haven't waited for His timing. And that goes back to being obedient, fully obedient, as those two priests were not, and jumping the gun with thinking, this is good enough. I don't have to follow God exactly the way He tells me, because it'll all work out in the end. But it doesn't. It doesn't all work out the best for us if we don't wait on God and wait for His timing. We can only be fully insured of His best path and His best goodness if we wait on His timing. And I tell you, it's hard because you're anxious and you want to get things done. And you say, oh, but I just got to get started on this. And this is just has to happen. Or this thing just has to get moving. Or I know I'm in the process of trying to get a book written and talks ready for a conference coming up in a couple weeks. And God just keeps telling me, not yet, wait. And it's easy to get so anxious and caught up in, but there won't be enough time. I got to start now. And then resting in, but God says, I'll be ready when I need to be ready. And I need to trust in that. And I hope whatever you're going through in your life, that you can do the same. Just say, you know what, God, I'm anxious. I want you to take away this anxiety from me. I want to trust you. And I want to see you be glorified above all things in my obedience and my ability to wait on you, to wait on your timing, and to be fully insured that the best good that you have for my life will come out of following your path in your timing and in your way. So thanks for joining me again on Daily Revelations, and have a great day. I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.